Do you have kitchens in your dorms, like a community kitchen? Yeah. All right, so you could do a little bit of cooking in your kitchen, right? Do any of you take advantage of this? Some of you do. Good. All right, so this is a cutting board. This right here is a non-slip mat. This is going to prevent my board from slipping around. So the board likes to travel around, and I want to stop that from happening. So I'm going to put down a non-slip mat. If I don't have this, I can use a wet towel or wet paper towels to go under here, and now my board stays in place. Right? You can find cutting boards that have rubber feet on them, and this serves the same purpose. Just keeps it stationary. All right. The next thing is we have different types of knives. So this one here is a Parry knife, and this is what my grandmother, who she was born, well, she's not around anymore, but anyway, when she was cooking, she would stand over a pot with a carrot and cut this way. It's dangerous. It's kind of how people in her, like she was from the Depression era, it's kind of how they did. So she was from that generation. So, a Parry knife does have a purpose. It's good for peeling. If you want to peel a potato, for instance, you could peel it with the Parry knife. But otherwise, you're not going to be using this for chopping. You're going to want to get some sort of chef knife. So there's a couple different sizes. This is one of the shorter ones. This is a 6-inch. This one's around 8 inches. You can get ones that are like 12 or 10 inches. It really depends on your comfort level. If you want just a small one, just get a small one. It doesn't matter. Next thing is you need to keep it sharp. So make sure you get a little knife sharpener. I don't have one to show you, but there's different types of little knife sharpeners that you can use to actually keep your knife sharp. Okay? So when I hold my knife, I actually want to grip it. Hold it. So I have control over the knife. Don't be afraid of it. You have control over it, it's not going to hurt you. You always want to make sure it's happening with your non-cutting hand. And make sure that your fingers are back so they're not splayed out, so you don't cut the pot. Alright? Okay. You guys are so lively. Alright. So, I'm going to show you how to cut up an onion. This is the proper way to cut up an onion. I realize that a lot of people do not cut up an onion this way, but when you go to culinary school and you work under chefs, you better cut an onion this way. So, I'll show you the proper way to do it. I'm going to peel off some of this paper. And I just cut off, this is the roots. I cut off part of my root. I'm going to cut off part of my stem. And I'm going to stand it up so it's actually not rolling around. So I want it to stand up like that so I can make 2 halves. Okay. Peel off this outer layer to get down to a more edible layer. Okay. So now I'm going to dice this up. And over here I have, this is where my root end was. So I'm going to make cuts this way. And I'm going to turn it and make cuts horizontally. And I'm not going to go all the way through. I'm going to leave probably about 1/3 of it or 1/4 of it uncut. This way, now I have nice onion. Is this how everybody does this? No? How do you do it?
It's a longer way.
A longer way. I think you just chop. Okay, well that's another way to do it. Alright, so when you get to the part where it hasn't been cut through, now you can like just rock your knife through it. Okay. So I'll show that again. There's no test on knife skills today, so don't worry if you don't get this There's a lot of videos out there about teaching people how to do knife skills, how to cut up an onion. So, again, I'm gonna go in like this, not go all the way. I'm gonna go vertically. Okay, and then just drop my knife through, and now I have diced onion. Just like that. Alright, that's how you do an onion. You can buy diced onion that's already done in the grocery store. I will guarantee you that a whole onion's a lot cheaper than a diced, the ones they dice you.
Where's the fun in that?
I know, right? Some people like the convenience of diced stuff. Okay, so this is garlic. This is a whole head of garlic. And one of these individual things in here is a clove. Okay? So normally garlic in recipes is going to be asked to be minced. But first, before I mince it, I need to get this paper off. The easiest way to do that is to take the back of your knife, smush it, and then the paper comes right off. Just like that. Okay? And now, I can go ahead and mince it. I can just run my knife through it. And all mincing is just a really fancy term for cutting it really small. That's all it is. This is mincing. Alright. Just a little bit of garlic. And now I have a carrot. Very rarely do I ever peel a carrot unless I don't, not unless I'm like worried about presentation. For like home eating or anything else, I'm just gonna leave the skin on there and wash it off. We don't really need to peel carrots. It's just a waste, and ends up being a food waste. But I do trim off the ends. And this is a pretty long carrot, so I want to make this more manageable, and I'm going to cut it in half. And this way I'm only working with a small part of the carrot. I'm not working with the whole thing. So I don't want my carrot rolling around while I cut it, so that's a little more dangerous. So I'm actually going to cut my carrot in half. And that way I have two flat sides. And this way my carrot is going to stay stationary, and now I can worry about dicing it. So I can cut it in half again. I can dice it. So when I'm cutting with my knife like this, the tip of my blade is not leaving the board, and I'm just doing a nice rocking motion here. So this is a pretty typically how you would dice carrots for, you know, a rice bowl or a stew or a soup. Okay, so it's nice size. If I was going to do carrots, say for roasting, I'd probably want those to be a little bit bigger. So I just want to do chunks. Like that. Alright. I'll show you guys some other veggies. This right here, we have ginger. So there's a couple different ways to get the skin off ginger. One is you could take a spoon and peel it with the spoon. Normally I just kind of cut around it, like so. This is usually the easiest and fastest way to do it. And then if I have a bunch of these, this is still edible, and I would use these actually for making like a ginger honey lemon tea or something like that. So I wouldn't waste that, I would just use it for something else. And then you can mince this up. Just like this. That's ginger. Alright. This is a whole head of broccoli. It's like a bouquet. The safest way to cut this is to actually turn it upside down and cut it this way. Okay. I had a friend in college, she's still my friend. She she was a little odd. She would actually take a whole head of broccoli and just eat it like an ice cream cone. She would just like munch on it.
Is that wrong?
Do you do that? It's a little odd.
We'll see about that.
Okay. All right. So you can use this. This is just the stem. Most people just want the florets. This is what this is. So when a broccoli, actually, if you allow flower, this would actually turn into a bunch of yellow flowers. That's why they're called florets. Most people just want to eat this, but you can eat this. You can actually roast it up. You can chop it up. You can mince it up. You can put it into soups, stews, a bunch of different things. So this is still really edible. All right. This right here is a zucchini. It's not a cucumber, it's a zucchini. Okay. This right here is kale. How do we chop up kale? First you need to wash the kale. This one's already been done. So you need to take the kale off the stem. There's a stem right here. So you can just peel this off. And then how you chop it, do a thing called a chiffonade. So the French decided they would name all the knife cuts for whatever reason. They wanted to name everything. So that's why we have weird names like julienne and chiffonade. It's really just French terms. All it means is ribbons. So you would stack up you can do this with spinach, do this with basil, a lot of different things. You would roll this up. And now you have a nice little small bit of kale. Okay. We also have Brussels sprouts, so these are actually going to be used over here in the sheet pan dinners. How do you cook up Brussels sprouts? Is you need to trim off this end, cut it in half, and voila, you're ready to cook a Brussels sprout. Okay. Okay. You guys like Brussels sprouts? No? I can't even smell.
I hope the same opinion as most of Brussels.
Oh. Okay. All right. So then we have bell peppers. Just so you know, these two things are the exact same thing. This one's younger than this one. So as this one stays on the vine, it turns red. Same thing. This one gets a little bit more sweet. This one's a little more bitter. But exact same thing, just different colors. Alright, so we have bell peppers. There's lots of different ways to cut up a bell pepper. The most basic way is to go down each side and do like 1, 2, 3. Okay. And we also have cauliflower. So cauliflower, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts are all part of the same family, same with kale. They're all part of the brassica family. Alright, this is a member of the squash family. Carrots, well, they're their own, they're a root vegetable. Alright, so those are fresh veggies. Now, if you don't have cutting boards and knives and things like that, you can always find frozen vegetables that are ready to go. And these are just as good and fresh. Probably even better. Because when they actually process frozen vegetables, they're going to do that at the height of harvest. So they're going to take it at the height of ripeness, take it from the field, and it's going to be processed very quickly. So the processing center is not going to be very far from where they actually grow the vegetables. Okay? So I have a couple different types. So you can find all sorts of frozen vegetables out there. They're really inexpensive and they're just as good for us. Alright, so if you don't have, a lot of utensils and anything, you can always find some way to eat your veggies. Just kind of look for it in the refrigerator. Canned vegetables are okay. Sometimes they're loaded with sodium. So I don't always advocate for those, not unless they're like canned beans or something like that, or canned tomatoes. Alright, but we also have edamame. This is a good source of protein. So we can add this to a rice bowl, or we can add it to maybe to the ramen bowls. So this is a really good thing to have. All right. We do have a couple different types of soy sauce. So this is just regular soy sauce. This one is tamari. This is a wheat-free or gluten-free soy sauce. So you know the differences. We have some tofu. There's firm tofu here. We also have tempeh. Tempeh is a fermented soy product. You can find tempeh that's made with different grains, so maybe like it has like barley or something else in it. But original tempeh is going to be with soy, so it's fermented. If you see a lot of like black marks on here, that's fine. It just means that it's actually still fermenting. All right, you can eat it. So this is a really good vegetarian or vegan protein. So you can use this today if you want. I also have chicken. These are just chicken breasts. Nothing special with those. And then we have probably one of the most nutritious thing you have in the kitchen is going to be an egg. Eggs are like a superfood. They're full of B vitamins. There's some a lot of protein in here. They serve a lot of purposes. So if you're a vegetarian, you should be eating a little bit of egg to get some good sources of protein. This is a really hard thing to substitute if you're a vegan. There are ways to substitute it, but eggs are probably the most versatile thing you can use in the kitchen. Okay? All right. So let's talk about what you guys are doing. You guys excited to actually cook dessert? Okay. You don't seem all excited. All right. Does anyone have any questions? No. Okay. So, you guys are all going to cook. So I will tell you that cutting boards are going to be in drawers over here or over there. Any pots that you're going to need are going to be probably in the cabinets over there. Any utensils like rubber spatulas are going to be right here. Tongs are down there. You're going to have to hunt for some things. I did not pull everything out for you. And that's okay. You guys can figure things out. When you're done cooking, we do hand wash everything. So there's sinks. So there's a big sink back there you can use, and then sinks along this wall. So you will have to wash your own dishes. There's towels up here. There's additional items up there like oil. There's some honey, some more kale, and other stuff is up there. I baked a cake for us for dessert. It's called a depression cake. It does not have any eggs in it. And the reason why it's called a depression cake is actually from the Depression era. So it's something that they would have made in the 30s when there was kind of a lot of food shortages. And so it doesn't have, like, it's made with water, oil, and a little bit of vinegar. So that's like the liquid that's in there. And so I'll make an icing for it so you guys can have a little cake for dessert. It's a really simple cake you can do for yourself if you don't have a lot of stuff available. All right, so each group's going to make a different recipe. So this group is going to make a rice bowl. And you're going to see that this recipe is not written like any other recipe. Can you already tell there's some big differences here? So, I kind of have a thing against recipes even though I've written them. I've written cookbooks, I'm a recipe developer, and now I hate them. That's where I'm coming full circle. So, anyway. So, how this works out is you're going to follow, it's going to like a little roadmap. So, you're going to follow the arrows to the next box. So this one is going to tell you how to cook your rice. The second box is going to tell you some things you can choose. So you can choose your protein, you can choose your veggies, your seasonings, if you want a sauce or vinaigrette. And then the next box will tell you how to cook some of those things if you want them cooked, or you can eat them raw. It doesn't matter how you do this. So you just need to read each box, and then it'll tell you at the end how to put it all together. On the back of this particular recipe, if you do not have a stove at home, it actually shows you, it tells you how to make rice in the microwave, because you can cook rice in the microwave. It's really easy to do. It just takes probably about 15 to 20 minutes to do it. Okay? All right, so that's this group. You guys are going to make rice bowls. The second group is going to make a sheet pan dinner. And you guys can, how you divide this up amongst your group is you can all work on it individually, or you can work on it all together. I'll let you guys decide how you want to do it. So either divide and conquer, or we decide, well, I'm just going to do this on my own. Right? It's up to each of you to figure this out, or each group to figure it out. So this group is going to do a sheet pan dinner. And on the sheet pan dinner, I'm giving you some choices. I have chicken for you to use. You can use a little of the tempeh if you want. You have potatoes, you have Brussels sprouts. You could probably use some of the broccoli if you wanted to. And again, it's going to take you through the line of actually how to put the sheet pan dinner together. So the cool thing about a sheet pan dinner is that everything ideally would go onto one sheet pan. Your protein, your vegetables, everything would go together. All right? And I gave you guys a teriyaki sauce if you want a sauce. You can make a barbecue sauce. I give you little instructions how to make a barbecue sauce. So that's sheet pan dinner over here. Over there is going to be a coconut curry, coconut milk curry. It's made with garbanzo beans. So this one's really simple to do. You have a choice between vegetable stock or chicken stock. This one's actually really straightforward and simple to put together. And you can, I gave you some rice, you can cook up some rice because curry is really good to have with rice. Okay? And then the last group's gonna make ramen bowls. So we have ramen. You guys like ramen? Do you guys eat a lot of ramen? Okay, I have kids your age. And oh my gosh, I should have bought stock in this company because they eat so much ramen. And for some reason, Korean ramen is better than anything else. I don't know why. But anyway, so we have ramen bowls. And how do you actually make ramen somewhat healthy? Is first, you're going to take this flavor packet out and you're going to toss it. We're not using it. So the flavor packet goes away. You guys can munch on it later. And what you're going to do is you're going to make your own broth. So this is how you make a broth, is you have a little bit of chicken stock, and you're going to flavor it with some rice vinegar and some sambal or sriracha and some soy sauce. You make a really flavorful broth, and you add some vegetables to that, and now you've made something really, really healthy. Okay, you can add an egg to it. You can add a little tofu to it for some more protein. So that's how you make a ramen bowl. You guys like ramen bowls? You ever go out to eat just to get a ramen bowl? Yeah, make them at home. Okay?